The directive had come down from the Confederacy's Ministry of Education 3 cycles ago, and Instructor Vezrin had read it no fewer than 11 times, each reading making his chitin plates tighten a little more. All species representative students are to bring an example of an apex predator from their homeworld for the Cross-Cultural Biology Symposium. This includes the newly inducted Terran delegation. Vezrin had taught at the Calvash Institute for 30 cycles. He had seen a Grix bring a spine wolf that nearly took off a Vantori exchange student's arm. He had seen a Torn bring a burrowing constrictor that had escaped into the ventilation system for 2 full weeks. He understood, in a bone-deep way, what apex predator meant to most species in the room. Something with teeth built for tearing, claws built for pinning, and eyes built for finding you in the dark. Humanity was new to the Confederacy. Only 4 cycles had passed since first contact, and the stories about Terrans were still more rumor than record. Vezrin had heard humans described as surprisingly resilient, unervingly calm under pressure, and, more than once, in hushed tones by species who had fought alongside them in the border skirmishes, the kind of thing you want next to you and never in front of you. So when the classroom door hissed open and the human student, Ben, walked in carrying a small, orange, fluffy creature cradled against his chest like a loaf of bread, Vezrin's 4 eyes did something complicated. "Is that," Vezrin said slowly, "a joke?" "No, sir." Ben set the creature down on the front table with the gentle care of someone placing a bomb. The creature, a cat, he'd called it, though the syllables felt strange in Vezrin's mouth, yawned, revealing a startling number of needle-thin teeth, stretched, and then curled itself into a loaf shape and appeared to go promptly to sleep. The class erupted. "That's your apex predator?" This was Threll, a Torn student whose own contribution, the aforementioned constrictor, was currently coiled in a reinforced tank at the back of the room, occasionally throwing itself against the glass with a wet thud that made everyone flinch. "It's the size of my foot. It's asleep," added Mox, a Vantori with 4 arms, all 4 of which were currently gesturing in what Vezrin recognized as the universal signal for this human has lost his mind. "Sir, with respect, I brought a Sandraptor. It killed a research drone last cycle. This is a pillow." Ben, to his credit, did not look remotely bothered. He leaned against the table next to the sleeping cat, arms crossed, wearing the specific expression of a human who was enjoying himself immensely and hiding it badly. "Her name is Machi," he said. "She's a domestic shorthair. And she's not asleep, she's pretending to be asleep, which is a completely different tactical posture." "Tactical," Vezrin repeated. "Sir, back home, we don't really have apex predators the way you're thinking of it. Not roaming around, anyway. We killed most of the things that used to hunt us. That's kind of our whole deal as a species. But cats are interesting. Cats are what happens when a predator moves in with you voluntarily and you let it because it decides you're useful." Threll's constrictor threw itself against the glass again. Nobody looked at it. "Explain," Vezrin said, against his better judgment. Ben straightened up, and something in his posture shifted, not aggressive, but settled, like a man about to enjoy explaining something he loved. Sarah, the other human delegate, who had been sitting quietly in the second row with her own presentation notes, allowed herself a small smile. She'd heard this speech before, back on the ship during the trip out. She knew what was coming. "Cats," Ben said, "are obligate carnivores that domesticated themselves. We didn't tame them the way we tamed dogs or horses. About 10,000 years ago, humans started storing grain in one place, which meant rodents showed up to eat the grain, which meant cats showed up to eat the rodents. Nobody invited them. They just calculated that humans were an efficient rodent delivery system and moved in." "That doesn't sound like domestication," Mox said. "That sounds like an infestation with better marketing." "Kind of, yeah." Ben grinned. "The thing is, a cat that size," he gestured at Machi, who had opened one eye, assessed the room, and closed it again, clearly unimpressed, "can kill things many times its own body weight, pound for pound, with a kill ratio that would make your Sandraptor jealous. They have retractable claws, so they stay razor-sharp instead of wearing down. They have a riding reflex that lets them survive falls that would kill most animals their size. Their eyes see in near total darkness. Their reflexes are roughly twice as fast as yours, sir, no offense." "None taken," Vezrin lied. "But here's the part that matters." Ben reached out, and scratched Machi behind the ears. The cat's motor started up immediately, a low rolling rumble that made half the Vantori students in the room lean forward in fascinated alarm. That sound, that's called purring. Do you know when cats purr? Silence. When they're happy, Threll offered. Sometimes. But also, and this is the part that freaked out our own scientists for a long time, cats purr when they're injured, when they're dying, when they're giving birth. The frequency of a cat's purr, somewhere between 25 and 150 Hz, has been shown to promote bone density and accelerate tissue healing. This animal comes factory-equipped with a self-repair mechanism that also functions as a psychological weapon, because it is extremely difficult to be afraid of or aggressive toward something making that sound at you. That's absurd, Vezran said. A weapon that heals itself and disarms its enemies? Yes, sir. And it gets better. Cats figured out that humans respond to the cries of human infants. It's a survival instinct. We can't ignore it. It's hardwired. So somewhere along the way, cats adapted their meow specifically to mimic the acoustic frequency of a crying baby, because they learned it makes us act instantly, without thinking. This animal reverse-engineered our neurology to make us serve it faster. The room had gone very quiet. Threll's constrictor threw itself against the glass a third time. Still nobody looked at it. So let me understand the message you're sending your Confederacy classmates, Vezran said carefully. Your species' example of an apex predator is an animal that invaded your civilization uninvited, that you never fully controlled, that can kill efficiently, but chooses mostly not to, that heals itself through an acoustic trick your scientists don't fully understand, and that has specifically evolved to manipulate your instincts so that you will feed it, house it, and defend it, and you keep it in your homes. Yes, sir. And this does not concern you. Sir, that's not even the scary part. Ben's grin widened, and for the first time, Vezran saw something in it that reminded him uncomfortably of the sand raptor. The scary part is that we know all of this. We've known for years. We know she's calculating. We know she's not fully domesticated. We know if she was 50 times bigger, she'd probably eat us without hesitation. And we let her sleep on our chests anyway. We built an entire section of our economy around keeping animals we openly acknowledge could and occasionally do turn on us, because we decided the company was worth the risk. He looked around the classroom, at the Sandraptor's empty enclosure by the door, at the tank where the constrictor slammed itself against the glass for a fourth time, at every other predator brought in chains, cages, and restraints. That's the whole answer to your assignment, really, Ben said. You wanted to know what predators mean to a species. On our world, we didn't bring the most dangerous thing we could find and put it in a cage to prove a point. We found something dangerous enough to respect, decided we liked it anyway, and gave it the run of the house. Machi chose that precise moment to wake fully, stretch with theatrical indifference, hop down from the table, and stroll directly toward Threll's tank, where she sat, tail curled around her paws, and stared unblinking at the thrashing constrictor until, gradually, impossibly, it stopped moving and simply stared back. Vezran's 4 eyes tracked this in silence for a long moment. Class dismissed, he finally managed. Someone please retrieve the Machi before she starts a diplomatic incident. Sarah, still smiling, leaned over to Ben as they gathered their things. 9 out of 10. What did I lose a point on? You didn't mention that she also head-butts him awake at 4 in the morning for no reason. She nodded toward the tank, where Machi had, without any visible provocation, begun grooming herself with supreme unconcerned 6 inches from 1,100 pounds of coiled, silent, thoroughly cowed constrictor. Some things you have to see to believe.